TDD, cheat sheet with Spring Boot introduction. TDD means test-driven development. TDD is a development approach where you write the test first, then write the code to make the test pass. Spring Boot developers use TDD to build REST APIs, service layers, controller logic, repository queries, validation logic, security rules, business workflows, integration tests, database-backed features, production quality backend applications. A common learning topic is, how can Spring Boot developers use TDD in real projects? This cheat sheet explains TDD basics, target green refactor, unit tests, service tests, controller tests, repository tests, integration tests, MockMvc, Mockito, test containers, validation testing, exception testing, Spring Boot test annotations, best practices, interview questions. Spring Boot provides testing utilities and annotations through SpringBootTest and SpringBootTest auto-configure. And at SpringBootTest loads a Spring Boot application context for integration style tests. Simple definition. TDD means write test first, then route production code. Simple flow. 1. Write failing test. 2. Run test. 3. Test fails. 4. Write minimum code. 5. Run test. 6. Test passes. 7. Refactor code. This is called red means green, means refactor TDD cycle red. Write a failing test. Test fails because feature does not exist yet. Green. Write minimum code to pass the test. Do not overbuild. Make the test pass first. Refactor. Improve code without changing behavior. Tests should still pass after refactoring. Simple idea. Red equals failing test. Green equals passing test. Refactor equals cleaner code. Why Spring Boot developers use TDD? TDD helps Spring Boot developers write better business logic, reduce bugs, improve design, avoid over-engineering, make refactoring safer, document expected behavior, test edge cases early, improve API reliability, catch regressions quickly. Backend example. Before writing order service.createOrder, write a test that describes what createOrder should do. TDD versus normal development. Normal development. TDD. Write code first, write test first. Test after implementation. Test drives implementation. Bugs found later. Bugs found early. Design may grow messy. Design becomes testable. Refactoring feels risky. Refactoring is safer. Simple rule. TDD forces you to think about behavior before implementation. Spring Boot testing pyramid. Many unit tests. Some integration tests. Few end-to-end tests. 4. Spring Boot. Test type purpose. Unit test test 1 class method. Slice test test 1 Spring layer. Integration test test app with real Spring context. Contract test test API message compatibility. E2E test test full user journey. Spring Boot provides several test slice annotations for specific layers, while at SpringBootTest is used when Spring Boot features and the full application context are needed. Core TDD tools. Tool purpose. JUnit test framework. Mockito. Mock dependencies. The CertJ. Fluent assertions. MockMvc test SpringMvc controllers. Test REST template. Test real HTTP endpoints. Test containers. Real database service integration tests. H2. Lightweight in-memory DB. WireMock. Mock external HTTP APIs. Mockito supports mock creation, stubbing, and verification, including AppMock, add-inject-mocks, and verify. Step 1. Add test dependencies. Spring Boot starter test usually includes common testing tools. Maven. Dependency. Group ID org Spring Framework Boot. Group ID Artifact ID Spring Boot starter test. Artifact ID. Scope test. 4. Test containers. Dependency. Group ID org Spring Framework Boot. Group ID. Artifact ID Spring Boot Test Containers Artifact ID. Scope test. Dependency. org.testcontainers Group ID. Artifact ID PostgreSQL Artifact ID. Scope test. Spring Boot documents test containers integration for starting real services such as MySQL, MongoDB, Cassandra, and others during tests. Step 2. Basic JUnit test class, calculator test. At test, void should add two numbers. Calculator equals new calculator. Int result equals calculator.add 2, 3. Assert equals 5, result. Pattern. Arrange, act, assert. Step 3. Arrange, act, assert, arrange. Prepare data and objects. Calculator equals new calculator, act. Call the method. Int result equals calculator.add 2, 3, assert. Verify result. Assert equals 5, result. Simple structure. Given, when, then, step 4. First TDD example. Requirement order total should be quantity times price. Red. Write failing test class, order calculator test. At test, void should calculate order total. Order calculator equals new order calculator. Big decimal result equals calculator.calculate total. Big decimal dot value of 25, 2. Assert equals big decimal dot value of 50, result. At this point, order calculator may not exist. Test fails. Step 5. Green. Write minimum code. Public class, order calculator. Public, big decimal, calculate total. Big decimal, price, int quantity. Return price, multiply, big decimal dot value of quantity. Now, test passes. Step 6. Refactor. Improve names or validation. Public class, order calculator. Public, big decimal, calculate total, big decimal unit price, int quantity. If unit price equals null, throw new illegal argument exception, unit price is required. If quantity equals 0, throw new illegal argument exception, quantity must be positive. Return unit price, multiply, big decimal dot value of quantity. Add tests for validation. Step 7. Test exception at test. Void should throw exception when quantity is invalid. Order calculator equals new order calculator. Illegal argument exception equals assert throws illegal argument exception dot class to a calculator calculate total big decimal dot value of 25, 0. Assert equals quantity must be positive exception dot get message. Use exception tests for invalid input, missing data, business rule violation, forbidden action, resource not found. Step 8. Service layer TDD requirement. When creating product should be saved as active. At service, public class, product service. Private final product repository. Public product service, product repository. This product repository equals product repository. Public product, create product request. Product equals new product. Product.setName, request.name. Product.setPrice, request.price. Product.setActive, true. Return product repository, save product. Step 9, service test with Mockito. At extend with Mockito extension class. At mock, private product repository. Inject mocks, private product service. At test void, should create active product. Create product request equals new create product request. Keyboard, big decimal, value of 49.99. Product, saved product equals new product. Saved product, set ID, 1L. Saved product, set name, keyboard. Saved product, set price, big decimal value of 49.99. Saved product, set active, true. When product repository, save any product.class, then return saved product. Product result equals product service.create product request. Assert equals keyboard result.getName. Assert true result.is active. Verify product repository, save any product class. This test checks. Service maps request. Product is active, repository save is called, returned product is correct. Step 10. Verify saved object with argument captor. @test void should save product with correct fields. Create product request equals new create product request, mouse, big decimal dot value of 29.99. When product repository, save any product class, then answer invocation, invocation.getArgument, 0. Product service.create product request. Argument captor for product. Captor equals argument captor for class, product, class. Verify. Product repository, save, capture. Product, saved, equals, captor, get value. Assert equals, mouse, saved get name. Assert equals big decimal dot value of 29.99, saved get price. Assert true, saved is active. Use argument captor when you need to inspect object, pass to dependency. Repository save receives generated entity. Event publisher receives event. Email service receives message. Step 11. Repository layer test. Repository tests check database queries. Use DataJpaTest. Example. DataJpaTest. Class product repository test. Autopopper private product repository. @test void should find active products. Product active equals new product. Active set name keyboard. Active set active true. Product inactive equals new product. Inactive.set name mouse. Inactive.set active false. Product repository.save active. Product repository.save inactive. List product result equals product repository.find by active true. Assert equals 1. Result.size. Assert equals keyboard result.get 0 get name. Use repository tests for custom queries, derived query methods, JPQL queries, native queries, database mappings. Step 12. Controller test with WebMvcTest. Controller tests check HTTP layer. Use @WebMvcTest product controller class. Example. WebMvcTest product controller.class. Class product controller test. @AutoDH private MockMvc @MockBean private product service. @test void should create product throws exception. Product response equals new product response. 1L keyboard big decimal value of 49.99. When product service create product any, then return response. MockMvc perform post API products. Content type media type.application JSON. Content keyboard price 49.99. And expect status is okay. And expect JSON path ID value 1. And expect JSON path name. MockMvc is commonly used for SpringMvc controller testing without starting a real HTTP server. Step 13. Validation test. Request DTO. Public record create product request. Not blank string name. Not null @positive big decimal price. Post mapping public product response create product @valid request body create product request. Return product service.create product. Test void should return bad request when name is blank throws exception. MockMvc.perform post API.products. Content type media type application JSON. Content name price 49.99 and expect status is bad request. Step 14. Global exception handler test. Exception. Public class product not found exception extends runtime exception. Public product not found exception string message super message. Handler. REST controller advice. Public class global exception handler. @exception handler. Product not found exception.class. Public response entity error response. Handle not found. Product not found exception X. Return response entity dot status HTTP status dot not found. Body new error response, product not found, ex.getMessage. Test, void, should return not found when product does not exist. When product service.getProduct99L, then throw new product not found exception, product not found. MockMvc.perform, get API products 99. And expect status as is not found. And expect JSON path $error code value, product not found. Step 15, integration test with SpringBootTest. Use @SpringBootTest @AutoConfigure MockMvc. Example, @SpringBootTest @AutoConfigure MockMvc class product integration test. @AutoIncluded private MockMvc MockMvc. @AutoWired private product repository product repository. Before each, void cleanup product repository delete all. @test void should create and fetch product throws exception. MockMvc.perform post API products. Content type media type application JSON. Content name keyboard price 49.99. And expect status is okay. MockMvc perform get API products. And expect status is okay. And expect JSON path $name value. Use integration tests for full Spring context, controller plus service plus repository, real application wiring, security filter chain, database integration. Step 16, test containers with PostgreSQL. Testcontainers helps test with real PostgreSQL instead of H2. @SpringBootTest, @Testcontainers, class, product Postgres integration test. @container, static PostgreSQL container ? Postgres equals new PostgreSQL container Postgres 16 with database name testdb with username test with password test. @dynamic property source, static void, configure properties, dynamic property registry, registry.add, spring.dataSource URL, Postgres get JDBC URL, registry.add, spring dataSource username, Postgres get username, registry.add, spring.dataSource.password, Postgres get password. @test void context loads. Assert true, Postgres is running. Test containers is useful when you want integration tests to talk to real backend services such as PostgreSQL, MongoDB, and other infrastructure. Step 17. TDD for business rule requirement order cannot be created if product stock is less than requested quantity. Test first. @test void should not create order when stock is insufficient. Create order request equals new create order request 1L 10. Product equals new product. Product.setID 1L. Product.setStock quantity 5. When product repository find by id 1L, then return optional of product. Assert throws insufficient stock exception .class talking service create order request. Verify order repository never save any. Then implementation public order create order request. Product equals product repository.find by id request.product id or else throw to new product not found exception product not found. If product gets stock quantity inferior to request quantity, throw new insufficient stock exception insufficient stock. Order equals new order.set product order.set quantity request.quantity. Return order repository.save order. Step 18. TDD for event publishing requirement. After order is created, publish order created event. Test. @test void should publish order created event. Product equals new product. Product.setID 1L. Product.setStock quantity 20. When product repository find by id 1L, then return optional of product. When order repository.save any order class, then answer invocation to order is invocation get argument O order.setID 100L, Return order. Order service, create order, new create order request, 1L, 2. Verify order event publisher. Publish order created. Any order created event class. Use this for Kafka publishing, Kajek RabbitMQ publishing, email sending, audit logging, notification events. Step 19. TDD for security. Example requirement. Normal user cannot access admin endpoint. Controller test. @test. @with mock user, roles user. Void should forbid normal user from admin endpoint. Throws exception. MockMvc perform get API admin users and expect status is forbidden. Admin access. @test. @with mock user, roles admin. Void should allow admin user. Throws exception. MockMvc.perform get API admin users and expect status is okay. Use security tests for role-based access, scope-based access, authenticated endpoints, public endpoints, forbidden endpoints. Step 20. TDD for pagination. Requirement: API should return paginated products. Test. @test void should return paged products. Pageable equals page request of 010. Page product. Page equals new page impl, list of new product. When product repository dot find by active true, pageable. Page product response. Result equals product service dot get products, pageable. Assert equals 1 result dot get total elements. Step 21. TDD for mapper. Mapper. Public class product mapper. Public product response to response product. Return new product response. Product get ID, product get name, product get price. Test. @test void should map product to response. Product equals new product. Product.setID 1L. Product.setName keyboard. Product.setPrice big decimal value of $49.99. Product mapper equals new product mapper. Product response equals mapper.toResponse product. Assert equals 1L response ID. Assert equals keyboard response name. Assert equals big decimal value of $49.99 response price. Mapper tests are useful because mapping bugs are common in APIs. Step 22. TDD for external API client. Requirement: payment client should handle payment failure. Use mock server or mock interface. Service test. @test void should mark payment as failed when gateway fails. When payment gateway.charge any. Then throw new payment gateway exception payment failed. Payment result equals payment service.process payment new payment request. Assert equals payment status failed result status for real HTTP client tests. Wiremock. Hall mock web server. Testcontainers mock server. Spring Boot integration test. Step 23. TDD cheat sheet. Test annotation guide. Annotation use @test marks test method. Extend with Mockito extension.class, Mockito unit tests. @mock creates mock dependency. Inject mocks injects mocks into class under test. @WebMvcTest controller slice test. @DataJpaTest repository JPA test. @SpringBootTest full spring boot context. @autoconfigure MockMvc inject MockMvc with spring context. @mockbean spring test mockbean. @testcontainers enable testcontainers. @container container lifecycle and test. @dynamic property source dynamic test properties. Step 24. TDD cheat sheet. Assertions. Common assertions. Assert equals expected, actual. Assert true, condition. Assert false, condition. Assert null, value. Assert not null, value. Assert throws, exception class, or method. Assert J style. Assert that result.getName is equal to keyboard. Assert that products has size 1. Assert that price is positive. Step 25. TDD cheat sheet. Mockito. Mock method. When repository.findById 1L, then return optional of product. Verify method called. Verify repository. Save any product class. Verify never called. Verify repository. Never. Delete any. Throw exception. When repository.findById 99L, then return optional empty. Capture argument. Argument capture product. Capture equals argument capture for class product class. Verify repository. Save capture.capture. Step 26. TDD cheat sheet. MockMvc. Get. MockMvc. Perform get API products and expect status is okay. Post. Period. MockMvc. Perform post API products. Content type, media type application JSON. Content name keyboard. Price $49.99. And expect status is okay. JSON check. And expect JSON path $name. Value keyboard. Header check. And expect header. String content type. Contains string application JSON. Step 27. What to test in Spring Boot. Test these. Business rules, validation, service logic, exception paths, repository queries, controller status codes, security access rules, event publishing, mapper logic, external API failures, integration with database. Do not over-test. Getters and setters. Generated code, simple framework behavior, trivial one-line methods unless business critical. Step 28. Common TDD workflow for Spring Boot feature. Example feature. Create product API. TDD steps. 1. Write controller test for post API products. 2. Test should fail. 3. Create controller method. 4. Write service test for create product. 5. Implement service. 6. Write validation test. 7. Add DTO validation. Write repository test if custom query exists. 9. Write integration test for full flow. 10. Refactor step 29. Real-world example. Create product API test requirements. Post/API products. Should. Accept valid request. Reject blank name. Reject negative price. Save active product. Return product response. Tests. Check. Controller success test. Check. Controller validation test. Check. Service business test. Check. Mapper test. Check. Repository test if needed. Check. Integration test. Step 30. TDD for bug fix. Bug. Product API allows negative price. TDD fix. 1. Write failing test for negative price. 2. Add validation at positive. 3. Run test. 4. Test passes. 5. Refactor error response if needed. At test. Void should reject negative price. Throws exception. MockMvc.perform post API products. Content type, media type application JSON. Content 1. Name keyboard. Price -10. And expect status is bad request. TDD case study. Order service business rules. 1. Product must exist. 2. Quantity must be positive. 3. Stock must be enough. 4. Order should be saved. 5. Stock should decrease. 6. Order created event should be published. Write tests. C. Product not found throws exception. Invalid quantity throws exception. Insufficient stock throws exception. Valid order saves order. Valid order decreases stock. Valid order publishes event. This is real TDD. TDD test names. Good test names. Should create product when request is valid. Should reject product when price is negative. Should throw exception when product not found. Should publish event after order created. Should forbid user without admin role. Bad test names. Test 1. Create test. Service test. Check. Good test names explain behavior. Common beginner mistakes. 1. Writing test after code and calling it TDD. TDD means test first, code second, refactor third. 2. Testing implementation details. Bad. Test private method directly. Better. Test public behavior. 3. Mocking everything. Bad. Mock every class, even simple mappers. Better. Mock external dependencies. Use real simple objects when possible. 4. Too many SpringBootTest tests. Bad. Every test loads full Spring context. Better. Use unit tests and slice tests. Use @SpringBootTest only when needed. 5. No negative tests. Bad. Only test happy path. Better. Test invalid input, exceptions, forbidden access, not found, edge cases. 6. Flaky tests. Bad tests depend on next test order, next real-time, next external network, next shared database state, next random data without control. Better. Isolate tests. Reset data. Mock external services. Use fixed clock. Use test containers for real DB. Best practices. Said, follow Red-Green-Refactor. Test behavior, not private methods. Keep unit tests fast. Use mocks for dependencies. Use real objects for simple values. Use @WebMvcTest for controllers. Use @DataJpaTest for repositories. Use @SpringBootTest for integration flows. Use test containers for real database tests. Negative cases. Check. Test validation. Check. Test exceptions. Check. Test security rules. Keep test names descriptive. Check. Avoid shared mutable state. Check. Clean database between tests. Check. Refactor after green. TDD. Interview questions 1. What is TDD? TDD is test-driven development, where developers write tests before writing production code. 2. What is Red-Green-Refactor? Red means write a failing test. Green means write minimum code to pass. Refactor means improve code while keeping tests passing. 3. Why use TDD? TDD improves code design, reduces bugs, supports refactoring, and documents expected behavior. 4. What is a unit test? A unit test tests one class or method in isolation. What is an integration test? An integration test verifies multiple parts of the system working together, such as controller, service, repository, and database. 6. What is MockMvc? MockMvc is a Spring testing tool used to test Spring MVC controllers without starting a real server. 7. What is Mockito? Mockito is a Java mocking framework used to create mocks, stub behavior, and verify interactions. 8. What is WebMvcTest? WebMvcTest loads only web layer components needed to test controllers. 9. What is DataJpaTest? DataJpaTest is used to test JPA repositories and database-related code. 10. What is @SpringBootTest? @SpringBootTest loads the full Spring Boot application context for integration-style tests. 11. When should you use test containers? Use test containers when integration tests need real external services like PostgreSQL, MongoDB, Kafka, or Redis. 12. What should not be tested? Usually avoid testing getters, setters, generated code, framework behavior, and trivial code unless business critical. 30-day learning plan, week 1, TDD basics. Learn Red-Green-Refactor, JUnit, assertions, service tests, exception tests. Practice. Write TDD tests for calculator, validator, and mapper classes. Week 2, Spring Boot unit tests. Learn. Check Mockito. @mock. @inject mocks. When? Verify. Argument capture. Practice. Write service tests for product service and order service. Week 3, controller and repository tests. Learn. Practice. Build and test product CRUD API. Week 4, integration and production testing. Learn. C. @SpringBootTest. C. Test containers. C. Real PostgreSQL tests. C. Security tests. C. Event publishing tests. Practice. Build full TDD-tested order management API. Real-world project. TDD Spring Boot order management API. Features. Create product, list products, create order, validate stock, decrease stock, publish order event, return order status, admin-only endpoint, database integration. Test coverage. Service unit tests, controller tests, validation tests, exception tests, repository tests, integration tests, security tests, Testcontainers PostgreSQL tests. Architecture. Controller, service, repository, PostgreSQL, event publisher, final summary. TDD with Spring Boot helps developers build reliable backend applications by writing tests before implementation. Important concepts include Red-Green-Refactor, JUnit, Mockito, MockMvc, WebMvcTest, DataJpaTest, SpringBootTest, Testcontainers, service tests, controller tests, repository tests, validation tests, exception tests, security tests, integration tests. Backend developers should remember: test behavior first, write minimum code, refactor safely. Key idea: TDD helps Spring Boot developers design better APIs, catch bugs early, and refactor confidently with automated tests.